So this is a quick breakdown of the Sofirn SP40. Sofirn was so kind to send it to me for review. Now this is a headlamp or a lamp that you can put in your jacket or whatever with the clip, so you can remove the clip and put it in this headgear, then you have a headlamp. So this type of lamp, this type of design has been around since a long time. It's very popular, it's very practical for smaller headlamps. Now they can deliver a whole lot of lumens in the meantime. This one delivers 1200 lumen. It's really insanely bright, but you'll see it in the outdoor beam shots that I will do later tonight. Now it comes with an electronic side switch that is also illuminated, gives you feedback about the condition of the included 18650 cell. It's the standard Sofirn cell, 3000 milliamps that we know from many other flashlights made by this company. Yeah, the overall design of the lamp is very standard. We know it very well. Very high quality machining. Again, the threads, O-rings, everything is typical Sofirn quality. This is marketed as a budget headlamp, so there are much more expensive headlamps of this type, for example manufactured by Olight or Nightcore. But if you're interested in a budget offer, then the Sofirn SP40 comes right your alleyway. Now this one comes with a micro USB charging port. It charges up to 4.11 volts, then it cuts off. It does that reliably. This thing is water resistant. I just had it submerged for about a half an hour. No damage, no problem there. This is very important for a headlamp, of course, when you go running in the rain. Now there are a few things about this headlamp that I don't like so much. It is a quality light, but it's a little bit rough around the edges. First of all, the position of the switch. As a headlamp, you prefer to have the switch on top. It's much easier to grab it when it's on top or in this area and when you have to go sideways. Now as with the headgear here, so this is a silicone headgear which is comfortable to wear. I like this design. It's not unknown also from other headlamps. Nothing can really break. It's soft. If you hit your head, there's no hard plastic or whatever. It's really something that is very safe. But this headlamp has a hard time to move inside the silicone holder. So it's very difficult to adjust the angle. So to adjust the angle of the beam, which makes it much more difficult to operate the light when you have it on your head. So it's a little bit too tight. I don't know if I can do something about it or if that works itself out over time, but it is definitely slightly annoying. So we have this silicone holder. Adjusting the angle is difficult. We have the side switch, which is not in a perfect position. And then overall, I have to say, for a single 18650 light that you're supposed to wear on your head, on your forehead, typically it is pretty heavy. The main contender to this light is the Skillhunt H03, which is an absolute classic in the budget headlamp area. It's much lighter, the overall design seems to be much more refined, and it's also smaller, but of course it lacks a charging port. So it is very much different design philosophy. This is very minimalistic and this tries to offer you much more. Comes at the cost of more weight, of course. As for the user interface, it's very simple, on and off. You turn it on, you hold it, and it goes through 3 modes. The highest mode here is like 400 or 500 lumens, and then if you do a double click, you have the insanely bright turbo mode. The beam pattern is it's kind of an all-rounder. It has a very useful spill, but it also has a hotspot, so it gives you both the close-up illumination and the range. The Skillhunt H03 is a little bit different. This is a pure flutter. I personally prefer pure flutter on my head when I go through the woods or whatever. But probably if you go on a bike and if you go very fast, then you want a little bit more range, and then this type of design would be better. Anyways, the beam pattern is very good, no artifacts there. It's a nice neutral light. I'm sure it will come out perfectly in the outdoor beam shots, but we will see that later. Now, yeah, we were talking about the weight a little bit and the user interface. The user interface again is very simplistic. It's very basic. It cannot start in a, it doesn't have an ultra low mode. It cannot start in a real low mode. So it can start in this mode, which is like, I don't know, 50 lumens. So it's a very basic user interface. I have seen better user interfaces made by Sofirn. Maybe some ramping and some ultra low mode would have been nice, but this one definitely works. The skill hunt, on the other hand, is much more refined. It has low mode start, it has modes in between modes and so on. I will not go on and explain that right now, but it's, if you don't use it on a constant basis, you tend to forget those little elements. And yeah, anyways, more is not always better, let's put it that way. I like the user interface. It's definitely something that will come in handy in the real world, not just on paper. Now this one offers you a whole lot of undocumented options. And first of all, they didn't mention to me that it also comes with a shorter battery tube. So I was positively surprised to see this short little battery tube that enables me to operate the light, for example, with a CR123A primary, which is pretty awesome. Yep. Of course, with a CR123A primary, you don't have as much power and you have much shorter run times, but it's good to see that it can also handle those little batteries with the additional battery tube. So that really adds functionality. And on top of it, what is even better, of course you could also use smaller rechargeables, but you can also operate this light without any battery in it, but just hooking it up to a power bank. If you hook it up to a power bank by micro USB, okay, it comes on now. So with this, it only has one mode, on and off. Pumps out about 200-250 lumens, which is more than enough for most applications outdoor. And now you have it hooked up to a, say, 10,000 milliamps power bank. This thing will run for a long time, plus you have no weight on your head or wherever else you mount the light. And there is another benefit to it. You can wear a power bank like this on your body or inside your jacket, and you wear the headlamp on your head and you have a cable in between. Now that sounds impractical, but there are applications where you need to set up your lamp like this. For example, if you work in extremely cold temperatures, this diminishes the output of those lithium-ion batteries. So you want to keep the lithium-ion batteries warm, and your head is not the right place for that. But for example, your chest is. So you can hook up a power bank on your chest, inside your jacket, where it's nice and protected and warm, and just have the headlamp in an ultralight configuration on your head, and you can work a whole day or even days with a battery charge that 10,000 milliamps or 20,000 milliamps battery provides you. So there is some unique applications possible with this little headlamp. So it's very, very versatile, and that is pretty interesting. So I don't think it's as as refined as the main contender, or one of the main contenders, that is the Skill Hunt H03, but I think it is extremely versatile So it's possible to just operate this light with a lithium-ion primary, with a smaller rechargeable battery, with an 18650, or to simply work it without any battery, just through a USB cable hooked up to a power bank or some other outlet. That is versatility, and I like that a lot.
So the Sofirn on turbo mode. Nice and floody beam pattern, but with a hotspot that also gives a decent range. Perfect for bicycling or something like that. Now the Skillon HO3, completely different reflector setup. So this is pure flood, very homogeneous, even distribution of light. Perfect for close-up work around the campsite. Just a pleasant light source. Both lights have very pleasant light color, good color rendition. Light distribution of the Sofirn, I like it a lot. It's very much an all-rounder. Against our Armitech partner, which has a very similar light distribution, floody but with a hotspot that gives some range. So this is the Armitech in warm white, and this is the Sofirn in neutral white. So the light colors are pretty close. The Armitech is clearly much brighter. It's rated for beyond 1500 lumens. But you can clearly see that the Sofirn with its claimed 1200 lumens is not far off. So two very bright lights, very compact. Pretty impressive for a headlamp. Again, you have active temperature regulation on the Sofirn, just like on the Armitech. Those lights only can deliver that kind of output for a few minutes, of course, because they're very compact and it's just one 18650 cell after all. But those are the lower modes, or the regular modes on the Sofirn. They're useful. So this is the high mode. That's enough, more than enough for most applications. Just to compare, these are the headlights on my bicycle. There's the two self-made modified ultra-fire flashlights in warm white, and the warm white here is a very warm white. Just to compare that with the Armitech warm white, which is white compared to that. Yeah. So those headlights give you flood and throw, but they could only deliver that for a few minutes too. So plus you would blind the vehicles and everything. So typically I have the main flood off and I have just the right side flashlight on, which is electronically regulated, and this one is like direct drive. That's why it's so insanely bright, at least for a few minutes, like if you go downhill with your bicycle. So those are my bicycle headlights, just to compare. But the headlamp, like the Sofirn SP40, would do a fine job too if you use it for bicycling. You don't need to install something like that on your bike. It's also a weight issue for some people.